Hi, today I want to talk with you about the photography with the Acer E700. It's quite a big video review because I think if you have read different reviews about the Acer E700, there's a lot of consensus about the good things about this phone, about the battery life, about the performance, the fact that it has KitKat. So yeah, what I want to focus on today is the camera, because that's a critical point. People like everything about the phone except the camera, and if you don't have the phone yet, it may be a good idea to have a look about what you can do with the camera, especially if the camera is important for you. So what I'm doing today is I'm gonna compare it with my previous phones, which is a 1-year-old THL W5, which has a similar sensor, by the way, and my Nokia 6710 from 2009, which also has a good camera, some camera features, so it can be good to compare it with that as well. And so I want to see if the E700 is a step up for me as a camera phone. Of course, I have plenty of other cameras that I can use for specialized stuff, but that's not very good to compare with. Okay, when I first was using the phone on the camera, what I noticed was in the details that there was very strange artifacts. And that's also what I've seen in some reviews of other users, for instance on Amazon DE. And I just want to show you the camera settings that I'm using currently for the E700, and show you what I've done, what also all the test photos are done with. So the resolution, these are the settings. The resolution, you can set the aspect ratio 4:3, which is you see a lot of smartphones, and also 16:9. It's nice to have both. I prefer myself 3:2, which you see on DSLRs also. For resolution, you can set 8, 5, 3, 2 or 1 megapixels. I made some of the photos with 16:9, but to compare it better, I made the majority of the photos with 4:3, because the other cameras don't have 16:9. So I'm going to leave it like this. Yeah, by default the ISO is put to 100. To auto, and I've set it to 100. You probably want to put it to 100 and do what I do. The risk is, if you put it on auto, you may think when you're taking a photo when it's a little bit too dark that it's a nice photo, and it actually turns out to be a not so good photo when you look up close. So my first tip is, if you already own the phone, or if you're going to use it, set it to ISO 100. If your hands are too shaky, if there's too much movement, for instance the subject, you will see right away, and you can do another take instead of thinking that you have a good photo. So use ISO 100. Let's see. Let's go through the options that are available. Favorite shots. This basically allows you to create a shortcut on the camera phone screen. Besides HDR, you can also select panorama, low light, multi-angle view, presentation capturing. We'll go through this in a minute. These different options in the camera settings. I'm going to leave it on the HDR now. Okay, and this is the other tip that I have. By default, smart denoise is set to on. It's a toggle. What this does is if you have a noisy photo, for instance, you take it in a dark situation, this will try to fix the noise, but it does it in a quite awful way. so you see a lot of artifacts of the software trying to fix the noise. I think, in my experience, it's better to do on the PC if you really want to do something about it, rather than on in the software on the camera. Grid is another option. It allows you to see a grid on the screen while you're taking the photo, to help you put the camera straight and all. Okay, I'm not going to cover video so much in this review. I'm still reviewing it. Photography was already a big subject to review, but these are the options that you have in the camera software for setting the resolution. 1080p, 720p, 480p, and a resolution called QCIF that I've never used. So audio mode allows you to set it to mute or just record the sound with a built-in microphone. Noise reduction is a separate setting for the video, can be turned to on or off. You can record the location, which should work quite well. I haven't set it to on because, well, no good reason, but the GPS sensor is very good. It's always on in my case, so I could easily put it on. Let's just put it on for now. But the test photos are done without the GPS setting. And the camera software has an extra setting for storage. So you can store on the internal storage a 16 gigabyte ROM, of which 12 gigabytes are available. You can put it on internal storage, or you can put it on the SD card, which is a SDHC card, up to 32 gigabytes. So you can make an extra selection here. There's also a selection in the Android level, where, in the general Android settings, but the camera has its own setting. And theoretically, you could also write to a USB stick that you can put on the go thing, but I don't think that's very practical for the camera to do. But I bet you could also do that. I haven't tried it actually, but I have tried with USB sticks in the meantime, since my previous video. Okay, so these are the settings. Again, put ISO to 100 and put Smart Denoise to off. It will improve the photo quality. All the test photos that you see, that I also put on Flickr.com for download and inspection, are done with these settings. And except for a couple, but I've indicated that. The Acer has two cameras, one in the back here, and one in the front here, next to my finger, and both have a flash, which is interesting. Yeah, what I've noticed is the options for the camera, they are different for the camera and in the front and for the back. So I'm now using the back camera, and you see a lot of options here. And if I now switch to the front camera, I'm going to do it very briefly. So if you see the options now, you see that there's only a limited set of options available. One of them is beautification, and the other one is smile shutter. So it allows to take a photo when you smile. It didn't always work for me though. So the front camera has a limited set of options, but it does allow you also to use the flash, which we will cover extensively in the test scenes that I've done. Let's go back to the front camera. You see these buttons here. These tend to work better when you put the camera to 4:3, because you see that there's sometimes the software cannot distinguish if it wants to press this button or if I want to focus on that part of the screen. I'm going to turn the camera a little bit so you can see the slides. Different settings. let's go to the more extensively to the settings that are available on the. There we go again. On the for the back camera. There's normal. All the test shots that you see that I compare with the other cameras with, at least, are done in normal. I will put in my Flickr stream some more photos of the other scenes, but I'm still working on it. For some I need a tripod, which I have ordered, or tripod extension. So the next one is someone that you really need a tripod for HDR. What it does, it will take, you press the release button, which by the way can be this button here. You can use the button here on the side to take a photo, like this, click. Oh, it doesn't work now when I'm in the software, but you can use this button, or you can use a press on this button. So that's nice to have two options. But HDR takes 3 photos in a row, and so that's yeah, you cannot move the camera while you do that. It takes a brighter photo, a darker photo, and a medium photo, and it will combine that inside the camera. It's a nice feature, but you need a tripod to use it well. I've tried. Sometimes it works if you get a very steady hand with some support. Panorama shot. Yeah, I cannot demonstrate that here in this setup, but it allows you to make a panorama. Many Android phones have an option like this. It's quite useful, quite nice. Beautification. This is the only setting, the only capture mode, as they call it, that allows has extra settings. You can set the smoothness. You can do something with the skin. Sorry, probably with the wrinkles. And you can put you can change the sharpness. I've tested it briefly. I thought I looked quite creepy. I'm familiar with this kind of software. I have a software called Portrait Professional, where you can do this on the PC. But this it's nice to play with this, I guess. Best shot is another capture mode. What this allows you to do is just take a series of photos in a row, and then you can pick the best one. It sort of automates the process of picking the best photo. The bright magic, I really don't know what that is actually. I couldn't find anything about it in the manual. So if I find out, I will let you know in the comments under this video. But so far, I don't know actually what it does. Small shutter. This allows you, if you set it to this, the camera will actively see if you're smiling, and if you smile, it takes the photo. Or if everybody smiles, if there's multiple subjects, it will take the photo. It didn't always work with my face, but maybe I don't smile well enough. AEB, that's similar to the settings that we discussed before, HDR. What this does is it also takes 3 photos, but it will just with different lighting settings, but it will save these as 3 separate photos. If you're more fond of doing the HDR process on your PC, or with separate software at least, you can use this setting. Multi-angle view. It is something. It allows you to take the camera, for instance, around the subject or around you, a little bit like a panorama kind of movement. Works as well, and it will show you the photo. In the photo app, you can use the slider to see that. I haven't really tested what it does if you try to put it in another medium than the phone, but it looks quite nice. Presentation capture. I don't know what that does either, but probably it will do something with the sharpness of the photo. Finally, capture mode, live photo. It will. It is basically it's like a small. It's making a small video, so a 5-second video that you, for instance, can upload to certain websites. Okay. The scene mode, you can put it to off. I've used it for all the test photos. Auto, landscape, night mode, and night portrait. Night portrait is of course it uses the flash while it keeps the background in the night, but many cameras have this kind of feature. The effects, you can put some effects for the colors. Mono is an option, so black and white. Sepia is another kind of black and white. Negative and aqua, of course. These are things that you also can do in post on your PC. But if you want to do it right in the camera because you want to send the photo right away, then you can do it here. Some options for creating a video from photos. So you can have, besides the normal setting, you can have a time lapse. And if you have selected time lapse, it allows you to use 1 second, 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10-second interval. And again, you need a tripod to use this well. I'm familiar with time lapse photos with other cameras. It's quite a nice effect. You know, there's plenty of samples of that on YouTube. Even in my channel you can find some time lapses, but not with this camera. The scene mode, night or off. All the test photos are done with off, and you have these effects again for the camera. There's some white balance options here. Everything was done with auto white balance. But you can make changes: sunny day, cloudy day, fluorescent light. This is all stuff that you find on body cameras. It's nice that it's in the camera phone software because not all of these features are always in the camera phone software. And you can also set use timer. Again, you need a tripod for this, or some kind of situation where you can put the camera stable. You can take a photo of yourself or the group with a 5, 10, or 15-second delay. So these are all the settings that you have in the camera software. Of course, you can also maybe find software in the Play Store, and that makes better use of the built-in sensor. I don't have experience with that, but I know people who do that. Okay, let me put the focus a little bit better on the presentation. So. What is nice is that there's quite some interesting software on the phone that I'm not going to discuss all now, but besides the phone app that you just saw, there's also a software program called Acer Snapnote. It's a licensed piece of software, and what it allows you to do, and this is actually what I use my phone for mostly, is it allows you to take a photo of a page, for instance in a magazine or in the newspaper or something that you see in a store, but especially if it's text, it will allow you. I'm going to do that now. It allows you to take a photo of a page of a magazine here, a little bit out of your view, and I'm going to take a photo of that. Okay, so it already picks out the images on the it senses the images in the page, so you can do something with that. You can select it, but you can also make a selection of the page. It keeps, if you didn't hold it completely straight, it corrects that. And it allows you to turn it, and this is not very nicely, but it allows you to turn it into a PDF, besides also the option of putting it in the JPEG. So there's an option here called Save as PDF. So that's very nice. There's, by the way, if you save it as PDF, I don't think there's any OCR options. In case you were wondering about that, I didn't see any OCR options that it allows you to put it also into written text. But it's nice that you can easily save it as a PDF instead of having to do it on the PC. So what I'm going to be comparing with is with my old phones. So let me show you my other phones. This is my THL W5. I've talked about it in my unpacking video a lot. The unpacking of the E700. This is my reference phone. This is my old phone, and it has also a 8 megapixel camera on the back, and it has a 2 megapixel on the front. So in that sense, it's quite comparable. It's 1 year older. It does. You will see that in the sample pictures. It does have some issues with the white balance, not all the time, but some of the time, which makes it not very reliable as a camera. But it does do very well. The focus actually. It's of course a quite old phone, but it actually has quite a decent camera. It even has a release. Shutter release here on the side of the camera, on the side of the phone, so you can actually, if you press it, it will go to the camera. So, and it is a 5 megapixel camera, and in some shots this turned out to be the best shot, as you will see in the, later on in the review. And it also has a flash, so it's quite comparable. So that I decided to use these 3 cameras to compare and test if it compares. My other cameras, I'm not going to show them all here, but I have a Canon 1D Mark III, also some compacts, a Ricoh GX100, that I always use at ISO 80, otherwise it gets too noisy. Canon PowerShot G12, I use it up to ISO 400. A Panasonic 3D1, I'm using that right now to film this review, and Olympus TUF T320. So it didn't make sense to me to compare with these cameras because they have bigger sensors and they're more specialized cameras. So yeah, the Nokia that I showed you, I'm still using it because it does very well with maps. It has free worldwide maps. So I'm using this for car navigation when I'm not when I don't have internet reception. So 5 megapixel camera. It makes it has very limited settings for making photos. For instance, it does some processing on the camera that you cannot turn off, like it sharpens the photo, makes it a little bit brighter. It doesn't do very well with video. And the THL W5, it's a phone from China, it's dual SIM phone. It only has a 4:3 option in the camera software. It's quite a simple app compared to the Acer E700, and like I said, it has some white balance issues. Of course, for the front camera it doesn't have a flash because that's quite a new feature on the Acer. And it runs Android 4.1.2. So focusing on the Acer, I already put a review on after 4 days of use. This came out this year in August 2014. Runs Android KitKat, has a 5-inch screen instead of the 4.7 on the THL. 8 megapixel camera in the back, 2 megapixel in the front. Both have flash. The specs, the processor and stuff like that is medium range, so it's not the lowest, but it's also not flagship quality. So somewhere in the middle, it's like sort of optimum for many people, especially for my case. It has triple SIM and a very big battery and a good price quality ratio, if you ask me, except maybe for the camera, but that's what we're going to find out today in this video. So the if you look more closer at the specs, all three cameras, both the Android phones have 8 megapixel cameras on the back, 2 in the front. The Nokia has a 5 megapixel. And these are the resolutions that each camera has. The resolutions, if I put it in 4:3 for the THL and the Acer E700 are the same, so it's quite good to have a comparison with that. The Acer front camera has a lower resolution. I'm not going to make all these numbers easier to read, and it's 16:9, while the THL, the front camera, has a 4:3 ratio, but I'm not putting it in the test. And the Nokia has a resolution, 5 megapixel resolution, which is a little bit which is a little bit lower than the back cameras of the others. And this translates into to file sizes. So the Acer back camera, the 8 megapixels turn into 2 to almost 4 megabytes of photo per rem if you use the maximum resolution. Sorry. The front camera, you will typically get 500, like half a megabyte of photos, 500K, between 300 and 600K. The Nokia gives you also quite big photos, not so extreme compression, 900K to 2.22 megabytes. And the THL has a quite strong compression, which is nice if you want to build a photo right away and you have a limited internet connection fee, but the downside is that you have less to play with if you want to do something with the photos later on. So it's always better to have a higher resolution, I think, and make it smaller at a later stage.
Alright, so let's dive into the test shots that I've taken with the 3 camera phones. Yeah, these first 7 scenes I used the 16:9 aspect ratio for the Acer on the left, the big photo on the left is always the Acer, and the 4:3 on the Nokia, the THL. I later decided that maybe it was more, it was easier and better to compare with the 4:3 aspect ratio. So most of you will see the 4:3 later on. All these first 7 shots are taken outside on a bright sunny day, and I'm gonna tell you which one I like best. Most of the time I'm gonna tell you already is the Acer, but sometimes it's also the Nokia or the THL. So let's just go through these briefly. Bright sunny day, a lot of hard shadows. I was in doubt about the Nokia and the Acer on this one. The Nokia looks quite nice, but if you look in detail, the sharpening really goes wild, and that fence in the background, and the Acer seems more balanced. The THL has, like many times, a white balance issue. The Nokia is just a little bit also too bright, although you see more details in the leaves. The contrast is also a little bit lacking. Okay, so this is a landscape. The colors on the Acer just seem the most natural. Also, the Nokia has a little bit of issues with the colors. Not as you can see, none of the colors are actually exactly the same on either photo. But just the Acer leaves the best impression for this scene. This one, the Nokia in the middle one, I like what they did with the sky here. There's more details in the leaves. If you look closer, the THL and the Acer are more muddy here, while the clouds, for instance, on the Acer are also quite bright. This was almost looking into the sun, so this is quite difficult circumstances. And what the Nokia does by default that you cannot turn off, all these the sharpening and the brightness settings works quite well for this photo. So here the Nokia one. Yeah, this is another winner for the Acer in my opinion. And here you see some details again. The Acer turns out best. If you look for the Nokia with lower megapixels, it does more sharpening. The colors are not quite right. The THL's problems with the white balance again. Yeah, this houses was one where I really liked the result of the THL the best. By the way, I took for each shot I took multiple photos, and I picked out the best one from each camera. I thought it was the most fair way to do. So I made a pre-selection of each camera, which is the best one for that, and this is what I compare. And here the result from the THL was just simply the best. You see more detail in the shadowy side of this little barn, and sorry, this one on the right here, right lower corner. The Nokia and the Acer are okay, but I thought the THL was just. So here the Acer wins again. More deep blacks in this graffiti shot. Plenty of detail. Okay, here I changed the setting to 4:3. At first sight, if you look very quickly at the photos, the Nokia jumps out because it's quite bright. That's what it does with all the photos. It makes it a little bit brighter. And you have sunlight coming here, daylight coming in from the left. This is near the window. This is like 1 centimeter from the window. So these shadows that you see here on the page are supposed to be here. If I didn't want the shadows, I would have used flash. And overall, the result here of the Acer is the best. Second being THL. And this is another day, also in bright sunlight. Overall, I like the Acer here. The result, the details, the best. Check for yourself. The Nokia goes a little bit wild with the colors. It becomes very greenish somehow. And the THL is also not so bad. Yeah, what this is, you may wonder. This is, I think, a toy. You can bind it around your child and it becomes a dinosaur. Maybe it's also even a bag, but I'm not sure of that. There's a lot of detail here in the print of the fabric. And yeah, this is also a tough cookie, but overall the colors, the details look best on the Acer, Nokia being second. Okay, this is a little bit tricky one. I think taking macro photos with all three cameras was very difficult actually, and I'll show you why. What I wanted to do was make this shot. This is a style of photo that I like. You have the subject in the foreground, and then you have nice bokeh in the background, and yeah, for that you need to be able to focus quite well, and this was taken with my Canon G12, which has a special setting to only select a very small point of focus. And I couldn't take this photo with either of the other camera phones because it was not easy. It was not possible to control the focus. So what I ended up doing is putting my head behind the flower, so the the focus on the head would also help to get focus on the flower, because all three cameras, they went totally wild. They all wanted to focus on the grass instead of the flower. I have to give it to the THL. It was slightly easier to focus than the Acer. With all three cameras, I made a lot of shots before I finally got some good results. See a little bit of white balance on the Nokia. I think the skin color of the Acer is the best. Yeah, it's difficult. On the Nokia, you also see that it's not so easy to get closer than this. This is as close as you can get to the flower, so it's not so macro. Okay, in the next and final scenes, these are all taken indoors under difficult lighting circumstances. I also use the front camera here. I haven't featured it in the previous settings. So to give you some idea of what kind of detail and color contrast you can get out of the same scene. So it doesn't the front camera doesn't go into competition here because it's 2 megapixel camera compared to 5 to 8 megapixel cameras is not really a comparison. And it also shows you what the flash can do because that's one of the things that I compare here. So this is scene 12. This is like 2 meters away from the window, light coming from the right. And no flash used here. The same scene with all cameras. So I was in doubt a lot if I like the Nokia, the 5 megapixel Nokia better, or the Acer, the THL. Was not really in the same league here. And yeah, I think after looking closely, the Nokia looks a little bit sharper. On the left side of the Nokia, the detail part, it looks a little bit sharper, but then it goes more blurry into the back. I think the Acer does a little bit better here by getting more things more in focus. And the THL really had more problems. These shots were taken out of my head, by the way, with like I said, the best shot out of many takes. So this is another detail shot. You see a little bit more detail in the white on yellow letters in the Acer, where it says "little people" with the Nokia. And also, if you look very closely at the Nokia, there's more noise there. Because it has a less sensitive sensor, I guess, and more in the color pulse. The Acer just looks cleaner. So this is a little bit different. This is the same scene, same light circumstance. The window is open in the same mode as the previous picture, but here I use the flash. So all cameras have a built-in flash, even the front of the Acer, the second photo. And you can see, especially for the front camera for the Acer, that it really makes a difference. Download the photos from Flickr.com and see for yourself. You can actually read the text now. So the front flash for the Acer really helps. I mean, it's not the flash is not so bright as the one on the back, but it really does make a difference in more difficult circumstances. All these indoor photos were taken with auto ISO, unlike the ones outside. And in general, you see that the ISO of the Acer is also the lowest. The selected ISO is the lowest. So because it's slightly more sensitive sensor than for instance the THL. You see here with the Acer that you could consider as a problem that you see this reflection here, but yeah, that's this kind of ink that they use in Wired magazine has this kind of reflection. There's not much you can do about it. You see the same effect also in the Nokia. If you have a bright flash, it's going to reflect. Not all inks do this. Not all. I don't think this is a downside. The LED flash is very close to the sensor. The fact you see less here in THL, but that's basically because it just has a not so powerful flash as the Acer and the Nokia have. So this is the same setup, same distance from the window, but here the window is almost closed. So here it's pretty dark in the room, and here the Acer is first, the THL becomes second. The Nokia really has more problems with this situation without using flashes. It's just a less sensitive sensor. And finally, in this run, you have this dark scene with the flash, and yeah, here the Acer is the winner again, in my opinion. Here you can see very clearly that the Nokia has a stronger flash than the THL. so it really helps you. The colors are not quite right. On the other end, the flash reaches more than the Acer, but overall I think the Acer is still better. But yeah, this was these are the scenes that I photographed. I'm gonna add some more without comparing because that's been a lot of pain to do.
So wrapping up after discussing the test photos that you can, like I said, you can put them, watch them on Flickr in more detail. Wrapping up, yeah, if you compare the new Acer E700 to my old Nokia, yeah, what's a big difference is the operation of the camera is much speedier. It takes photos quite quickly. You have a very nice bright screen compared to the Nokia. This is very difficult to see outdoors. The video functions are much better usable than the Nokia. The Nokia gets very slow when you want to do a video. You have better control of the front of the post processing. The flash is much brighter. Well, not a whole lot, but it's brighter than the Nokia. And the macro options, you just put the camera closer than with the Nokia. The Nokia is a little bit does okay with macro, but you just cannot get so close because you cannot get so much detail. But as you have seen, sometimes the Nokia makes a better photo because of its default post processing settings, and it just results in a nicer photo. So I have to give that to Nokia, even though this is a 5-year-old phone. The camera is quite reasonable and holds up till now. Yeah, comparing the Acer and my old THL. Yeah, what's nice is that the Acer has this hardware button that you can use to turn on the camera and also to use as a release button. It sort of allows you to take photos like this. Hold the camera quite steady. So that's nice. It gives you the option also to take shots in 16:9 if that's your preference. If you want to show it on a TV, for instance. The video functions are more usable than on the THL. The flash is more powerful, as you also saw in the test photos, and it also works very well as a video light. But maybe that should be in a separate review about the video camera. Yeah, this is a little bit tricky to explain, but the thing is with the THL, the battery runs down so quickly that I often had it attached to a separate battery when I was yeah, on a long trip, and I didn't, far away from home, and I on a city trip out all day, and I just had it to one of those separate batteries with a cable. And then you see that it's important to have a good battery also if you want to use it, if you want to use the camera, because the fact that I had it attached to a cable and I didn't want to detach it all the time to take a photo. The camera may be good on the phone, but if the battery is disappointing, it makes the camera a little bit less usable. With the Acer, I notice I'm taking more of the photos, of course also to test, but it's easier to use it if you don't have to worry about things like the battery all the time. Hardware-wise, the sensor, the resolution of the sensor, it's not a big step up. So of course the flash is a step up, but not the sensor. But both phones are also in the same price range. I paid 230 for the THL when it came out, and I paid 220 in that range for the Acer, and that's even right now in Holland it's even cheaper. It's now in the 180 range with some stores. So my conclusion, yeah, my first impression of the Acer was, yeah, if you zoom in, the quality is not very good. But when I did this review, I found out that the camera is better than first thought, better than my first impression. The camera I know that there are phones out there that put more focus on the quality of the camera than other things. You know, the E700 has a lot of special features like the triple SIM feature, the big battery, the specs of the processor are very decent, and everything runs very smoothly. But the camera is not, you know, as exceptional as the other features of it. I guess they have to put some focus on it. So for its price range, I guess it's not a highlight. There probably are other cameras out there that may be more focused on the camera, if that's really the most important thing on a phone for you. For me, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't replace a compact camera or a DSLR. I also have the other options of using other cameras, and I often carry them around also. So for me, this is not my my only camera, but it's still more usable than I first thought. And it's overall, it's better than my previous phone cam, so I'm quite happy with it. So the pros. The camera of the Acer E700 is usable at ISO 100 with daylight, or using the flash. So if you don't mind the effect of a flash, you know, it makes everything a little bit flatter, but it does quite well with the flash. The flash on the back is quite powerful. You have an extra flash in the front, which is less powerful, but still usable if you don't hold it too far. There's a lot of nice options to play with in the camera app, as I showed you in the beginning of the video. There's an option of making PDFs right in the phone with added software. There's the screen is it turns quite dim indoors, and it turns quite bright outdoors. It's quite flexible, more flexible than the THL. So it's very well balanced screen in my opinion. And outdoors it can really shine in the bright Spanish sun where I tested it. And the performance is very snappy. And what I like is that, like the Nokia, it has also the hardware button that allows you to release a photo. The downsides of the E700, it's really only usable at ISO 100. I tried the other night some photos. Tried to make some photos with ISO 200 outdoors, shooting from the hand, and it was just, you know, it was disappointing. I was looking at the photos on the already on the phone. If I zoomed in, I noticed that it was too noisy. Just didn't look nice. I had to throw away all of them. So it is a small sensor. There's no optic stabilization, of course, in this price range. So don't expect any low light miracles from this phone. Of course, if you have a tripod with certain scenes that are quite static, you can of course do some things with ISO 100 and lower light situations. But again, this is a daytime phone or to use with flash, and it does quite well with flash. If you use the default settings, it does some very strange things, as other reviews also remarked, and as I pointed out in the beginning. And it cannot really replace a good compact camera, let alone the DSLR, of course. So, wrapping up, I hope this was useful for you. Please let me know with a thumbs up, or maybe thumbs down, but I prefer thumbs up. Do you have any questions or tips? Leave a comment. Do you want to know more about this phone? I'm intending to give it a more complete review later on. Just subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.